Welcome back to the Rad Nauseam YouTube channel, where we aim to bring you high-quality paper content. I'm your host today, Billy, and I'm here with Nathan. How you doing, Nathan?
Look, I'm always good when we're bringing the high quality paper content. I'm always good.
Today it's going to be 8-point Merfolk versus Grixis, so two titans of the format. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Grixis?
Grixis, obviously the smaller titan of the two, but was the bogeyman for the last sort of few years. It's a basically just a mid-range pile. Maybe it's a tempo pile, maybe it's a control pile. We'll have to ask the 7-point Discord for the full sort of explanation as to what Grixis is, but it basically tries to trade resources efficiently, get a few 2-for-1s, sort of accrue a lead there, and sort of win by the war of attrition. It's an incredibly fun deck to play against. It feels like every decision matters, and when you're playing the deck, if you make a misplay, you won't necessarily know until 7 turns later when you die. But it's a great deck, and I'm excited to see what it does against the fish.
And we have 8-point Fish, which is notably the second best deck in the format, behind obviously like 7-point Fish, which uses the Mox Sapphire. The 8-point list replaces the Mox Sapphire with a point spread of Strip Mine, True Name Nemesis, Skull Clamp, Gush, Wasteland, Force of Will, and Mental Misstep. So packing a lot of points in there. I don't want to use the T word, but it might actually be a tempo list. We're looking to put into play some fairly irrelevant Merfolk and then just play some Lords and then back that up with, most of the free counter spells, your Daze, Force of Negation, Force of Will, notably one of the few Flare of Denial decks, so sort of a Force of Will, but you have to sacrifice a non-token blue creature. And then also notably a very good home for Flame of Venor, because for some reason all of the Merfolk are wizards. So almost a mono blue deck, splashing for the Price of Progress and Flame of Venor. And this is the 8-point build. So yeah, excited to see it in action. All right, and welcome to the gameplay here. Looks like we're just taking our 7s, perhaps. Yeah, looks like Michael's going down to 6 there. And leading us off with, it looks like a Ragavan.
Shot cutting here for what's probably a volcanic island. Just getting man into play and sending that man to you next turn. But notably, fish. A lot of cheap creatures, a lot of good blockers.
A lot of cards that you're happy to just throw away in a trade, particularly with a Ragavan. But yeah, not a lot of high value 1-drops, despite having a lot of 1-drops. So yeah, happy to put a fish in front of a monkey. So we're just getting some life totals here.
Trading a 2-point Ragavan for a 1-point card that I don't know the text of is going to be probably a good trade.
1-point card?
What does that guy do?
That's a Kozzy's Trickster. It's a 1-mana 1/1, and whenever an opponent shuffles their library, it gets a +1/+1 counter, which I believe is why he was just waving the fetch land in front of me there, saying, "Oh, at some point we're going to make this a 2/2."
Yeah, it's definitely never living to go up in power. It is blocking that Ragavan immediately.
Yeah, so I mean, Ragavan obviously not getting in there, and we're seeing a Psychic Frog. So we've got, what, 2 points on the board here?
Yeah, 2 points in this reality, probably 4 to 5 points in some other reality, but we're going to play with what we've got currently, and looks like you're going to Island Cycle here.
Yeah, and find these Steam vents, so revealing that I am probably on an 8-point list here.
Is there ever I'm assuming you don't have another land in your hand. Is there a specific reason that you've sort of chosen to keep this hand with sort of one land? Maybe with the Island Cycler was already there, but like, does the deck require many lands to function?
Not really. Quite a low curve. We're looking to hit like 2 to 3 lands. We'll be able to cast pretty much every spell in the deck off that. A lot of free spells, a lot of cheap creatures. So yeah, I think probably keeping this hand off the back of the True Name, some counter spells, and the Flood Moon. So it looks like the Psychic Frog has got in and drawn a card.
Yeah, undone the mulligan damage that Grixis has sort of taken. And this is like the danger of Grixis is if it can get away with like a Ragavan hit, make a treasure, a Psychic Frog hit, draw a card or two, the deck can start to feel oppressive quite quickly. It's able to accrue that little bit of a lead, and then when they've got one or two cards left in their hand and you've got none, gets dangerous very quickly.
For sure. So it looks like I've got some options here. I am choosing to pass the turn. I do have the Tishana's Tidebinder in hand, so holding up Counterspell as well. So just waving the fetch land there in front of me, telling me that the Kozzy's Tricks is going to get big. But yeah, have the Tishana's Tidebinder, which could use to negate that draw trigger off the Psychic Frog, or if he plays a high value spell here, I've got the Counterspell. So a lot of options. See what he goes for here.
It's pretty rare that the Grixis player doesn't have a removal spell for this little fish that you put in the way.
Yeah, but looks to be the case. We've got a Murktide, looks like a Corey Steelcutter, and 2 lands, I think.
As a force of fierce.
Oh yeah, and a force.
Negation. But,
so yeah, just indicating here that I'm taking the damage, but then have the Tishana's Tidebinder to stifle that trigger. So no card draw.
Turn that frog into a 1/2 do nothing. Will he discard some cards in response to sort of potentially get around the current board state in the future?
I think he has accepted the stifling. So Frog is now
just a generic one, but
generic
it's kind of interesting because his hand doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. The Corey Steelcutter here, not really going to be able to trigger it. I'm surprised he didn't cast it first and maybe strap up the Ragavan. Potentially threaten to get in with that as well.
Yeah, might have been the play there. I guess he was assuming he was going to get the draw off the Psychic Frog and just see what his options are. I now have options of my own because I have this Flame of Anor. I also have can't remember the name of it, but it's the Merfolk that steals equipment. So with the Corey Steelcutter on the board, I do have that option as well, although that would require a 4th land.
Vintage Cube staple Thieving Skydiver.
Yeah, that's the one, Thieving Skydiver. So unfortunately didn't hit the 4th land to open up that line, but it is something to think about. Flame of Anor notably with the Wizards. I believe both the creatures in play are Wizards, so it is active in terms of both modes.
Once you put it on the stack, it'll check and then resolve regardless of your Wizard count afterwards. But yeah, the force of negation, Michael's hand is definitely gonna stop you from being able to do what you want to do. But I don't think pitching his Murktide at the moment to stop your Flame of Anor is where he really wants to be and have 0 cards in hand. That's not where Grixis wants to be, facing down any amount of extra counterspells that you have. The deck really requires getting ahead, and the draws have not been forgiving so far for Michael. No cantrips to really churn through the deck.
And he has just shuffled his library, so the Kozzy's Trickster is now a 2/2. So we're seeing this is still having a decision here about the Surveil, and it looks like he's just decided to put that into his hand.
At which point do you consider it to be a good idea to potentially start attacking to sort of give him less time to draw out of this?
Yeah, so I have passed the turn here, holding up the Flame of Anor. It looks like he's going to equip on the Ragavan. I believe at this stage the plan for me is the Flame of Anor, but obviously holding up the counterspell until I'm sort of forced into a decision with an attack. Equip now onto the Ragavan. He's going ahead, and I guess we'll see him move to combat. Notably, no instants or sorceries from his side in the graveyard at the moment. So the Murktide not representing a very large threat, as it sometimes does.
Is there ever a world here where you double block? Force him to make his game action?
It's certainly an option. I am wary, I think, of lines that open up the potential for my Tidebinder to die, because obviously that would turn the Psychic Frog back on. But I believe I will be firing off this Flame of Anor here and attempting to hit the Steel Cutter, and then we have a decision of whether to hit the Ragavan or the Psychic Frog.
I think it's definitely an interesting decision for the modes here. I'm surprised you're going for the destruction of the artifact and not just killing the Ragavan, potentially drawing 2 more cards. Because if you're gonna make,
I've decided here to just trade with the Ragavan once it's no longer wearing the Steel Cutter. Obviously, trades with the Quasi's Trickster. There are a lot of potential lines there, but that's the one I chose. Get that Psychic Frog off the board just in case the Tidebinder dies. Don't want him to have an active Frog. And if I can get a trade with a Ragavan for a Quasi's Trickster, I'm fairly happy about that.
And this is a vanilla
3/3. So despite there being a lot of cards there, exiled, we are seeing a vanilla 3/3 Murktide.
Wonder what's Michael's game plan here is holding up the ability to counter a spell, but now, yeah, it's good to see you getting in the red zone here with obviously happy to trade this for a Murktide before it has the chance to get any bigger.
Yeah, so now that it's no longer holding back the Frog, fairly happy for that trade if he wants it, and the Flood Moon coming down, making all the non-basics into islands.
And yeah, and obviously you don't care that your only red source is now an island, but it's going to make it very difficult for Michael to chain a few things together to find an answer to what you're doing.
Yeah, so he does have the Tamiyo in hand, and he does, I believe, have a Lorien revealed there. So the A+B, obviously, to flip the Tamiyo. Unfortunately for him, only 5 lands, so can't do both this turn.
Yeah, definitely can't do both this turn, and hoping to resolve a 5 mana spell against a mono blue deck with 5 cards in hand is very ambitious place to be.
Yeah, so just go on the Tamiyo, passing the turn to me. And I have drawn a Flash Merfolk off the top, a Flash Lord even. So open to some tricks there, and still holding up the Force Negation and Counter Spell. So definitely have some options in terms of countering his potential moves.
Yeah, the Flash Lord is very interesting when you're attacking with a 2/2. That's a very obvious 0/3 block to prevent life total, and you're just going to be able to put that extra point of power onto the as expected. And
yeah, so there's
sorry,
the block.
buddy.
And yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of people know what to play around playing against Merfolk. So the Flash Lord, managing to flash in there and put that point of damage, as you said.
Truly proving why it is such a scourge of the format.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to stop, and when you don't know what you're trying to stop, it's even harder. Drawing a misstep for turn there for Michael.
I think casting this Lorien revealed into your Force of Negation is going to probably be the point where, if it was me playing, I'd probably tap out and be like, sorry, we're going next.
Yeah, so he is firing off that Lorien revealed. Obviously not going to let this one resolve, just deciding what card I'm going to pitch. Showing the bad news. It looks like that Sky Diver, now that there is no equipment. Just showing it to Michael there, who's questioning what it was.
Does the Murktide trigger off that force of negation, or is it when it's removed from your graveyard? It's probably that one.
Yeah, I might have to check that one with a judge at some point, or just read the card. Reading the cards explain the cards. But
It's true.
Merfolk in a pretty good spot here. So we've got what is it? 4, 7, 8 power on board. An opponent on 9 life with 1 blocker. So in a pretty good spot. Happy to get in with the Tidebinder here. Looks like still would trade with the Murktide if he was to block. It's a 4-3 now, but if he wants that trade, I'm happy with it. Hanging back on the Flood Moon, though, that just not really sure that I want to give him that option for that trade to unlock his entire hand. Getting handed
like
some promo cards.
Some promo cards, some loot for playing. It's exciting.
Yeah. Michael attempted to put
Maze.
his promo card into play, but unsuccessful.
It sounds like a capers maneuver, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. So drawing the Unholy Heat for turn, which notably is not on here because all non-basics are islands.
It's true. I think
playing the Trickster here, I believe. It's the
this game doesn't look long for this world.
No,
and
yeah, so that was the Merfolk that taps a creature, and that would obviously represent lethal, flashing that in on the end step there, so shuffling up.
I think you looked like you had lethal many ways, even if that creature wasn't tapped down. But yeah, well played, and on to the next game.
Yeah, so we'll see Grixis on the play here this time. Back to basics, Counterspell, Skull Clamp. Looks like I have a Wasteland as well.
As the land player, are you tempted here to just slam this Wasteland and remove his tap land?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I can resist. Lands player at heart. I see that tap land come down, no turn 1 play, and I'm pretty sure I'll be firing that off. Binning the Ragavan is a very interesting choice. Like we said, probably hard to get it through in this matchup with the amount of 1-drops that the Merfolk deck has that they're happy to just throw away. So possibly that was the thought process there, but we are getting the Wasteland here.
I think with the Ragavan being put in the bin, it's a lot. Not sure if he just doesn't have a red source in the hand, but maybe he's intending to play a 2-mana spell next turn and wasn't really thinking about being able to ever cast the Ragavan. But after being Wastelanded, it would be pretty tempting to put that Ragavan back on top of your library.
Yeah, the old just chuck it from the graveyard on top of the library. Super strong move. But instead, we are seeing him pass, and I am playing a Curse Catcher. So have the ability to sack the Curse Catcher and counter, effectively daze an instant or sorcery, so make it countered unless they pay 1. Michael going with the full rotation of the land there before firing off another hand attack spell, taking the Skull Clamp. So picking the hand apart piece by piece here.
The Grixis deck loves to play with open information like this. It just makes game decisions so much easier. You get to know where you need to put your interaction, what to play around. Basically, the deck wants to walk a sort of tightrope as it gets to the finish line, and having these sorts of reassurances is very important.
Yeah, so we are seeing a Tamiyo come down here. Can't remember the name of it, but I do have that 2-mana Merfolk in hand, which is able to tap down a creature and put a stun counter on it. And then it has the ability for 2 mana and tap to shuffle both, so it and the creature away. So seeing the Tamiyo come down, it also has flash, so I have passed the turn with that up. But seeing the Tamiyo come down makes me think that perhaps that would be the plan. I was holding up Counterspell, obviously, just in case we see a Brainstorm or similar.
You're not a Duskmourn player with the Flood Pit's Drowner knowledge?
I mean, there's just so many Merfolk that are all so interchangeable that they all sort of blend in.
Yeah, it did, that could have been a thieving skydiver for all anyone at home cared.
So we are seeing it come down here and tap the Tameo, put a
Putting a lot of
dice
stun counters on it.
with 5 stun counters. We are going to replace that with the actual does not untap dice. There it is.
This is a fish on fish crime.
Yeah, what are we seeing here? It looks like one of those cantrips where you don't actually know what it is because it's got the weird art. I think Michael here was mentioned he was a bit sad that the bauble he found doesn't draw the card that turn because that would obviously represent a Tameo flip. With the delayed draw, you're only drawing 2 cards this turn, unfortunately. Just having a bit of a think about what he wants to do.
This Deadpool that's in his hand, if that resolves against you, does it feel as bad as some other decks?
So yeah, secret to playing against Deadpool is just don't play any good creatures. They can't Deadpool, anything worth Deadpooling if your creatures all suck. So that's how you do it.
Especially those with text that could potentially get them out of the game. With it on the stack potentially.
So this is my window here. If I want to shuffle away the Tameo, I have to do that now while it's still got the stun counter on it. It does have vigilance though, so I am able to get in for 3 here before I make that decision. It would mean I'm not on counterspell though.
I think you're supposed to take that though. The bauble flipping there. The bauble drawing a card and the clue that he would make.
Yeah, so obviously he chose to
threatening a flip, so
to go
it makes
for
sense
it.
to get rid of it.
Yeah, obviously super powerful cards. So very happy to see the last of Tameo. And we are seeing is it Consult? We see the Tameo though. So yep, he just shows it to me saying, here it is.
Yep, put that back on top. Notably, 3 banger cards against your deck on top of the library, but...
So it's Psychic Frog, Tameo, and I missed the third one. What was it?
It looks like a Baragoyf.
Yeah. So some options for sure. I believe that's the Psychic Frog. He's just having a little hesitation on thinking whether that's what he wants, but he has gone for the Psychic Frog. And cracking that bauble. He has a 2 in 3 chance here at seeing a new card, and we are going to roll for it, and he is going to see the counterspell.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so he double knows about the counterspell now. Although he has ripped a Thoughtseize, so if he wants to see the rest of them, he will.
I think if he's interested in protecting this Psychic Frog, this Thoughtseize is very important.
So Thoughtseize seeing Subtlety and Counterspell, and going for the Subtlety obviously has the ability to pitch cast. Yeah, so Psychic Frog, quite good onto a virtually empty board. Has a pretty healthy graveyard there if he wants to jump it up. And yeah, we're just getting that red source, just in case.
So it looks like you're in a pretty dire position here unless you draw something nice off the top. This frog is not really threatened once it's on the board by your counterspell, and the fish doesn't really block it very well.
Yeah, so the secret to being good with a deck like Merfolk is to just always rip what you need off the top. I believe I have ripped something fairly relevant.
Can't wait for you to show us, show the class what you've gotten. But
yeah, just making sure the camera can't see it there, just to keep the game suspenseful. But Michael with a full grip at the moment has a lot of options. Getting in with the frog and trying to get in with the frog. So again, another Merfolk that shall remain nameless because there's too many of them. They're too interchangeable. But this one is the 2-mana 2/2 that you can pay an additional 2 to cast anytime you would cast an instant. And it taps down a creature. Sorry, no, returns the creature to their hand. So it is getting bounced by the Psychic Frog is getting bounced by it. Sorry. So buying myself some time. There's the Tameo. So keeping it on the bottom of the deck so that he can palm it to the top is always a high value play.
I wonder if I'm just jamming Deadpool here on your 2/2.
Yeah, so notably, Deadpool will switch text boxes, but won't really gain that much out of it because the fish are all pretty individually bad. So
yeah, you are sort of representing only a counterspell here, which this is probably what I would do also. It's just turn your guy into a useless man and try and race you down over 3 turns while you're sort of not really representing any way of getting more card value.
yeah, this is probably a spot you'd be fairly happy with from Michael's end. Got the Deadpool into play. I'm going to be now bolted every turn until I sack it. So we're just discussing here whether or not I am getting bolted regardless, whether or not I decide to sack it.
Yeah, you definitely still do die if you're sacrificing it.
Yes, so just having that discussion now, but
I've died many times trying to eke that one out.
Yeah, so once again, just ripping something off the top and not showing the camera. Keep the game suspenseful.
Knowing you is probably the exact answer that you needed to.
Well, you just always got to have it
in the game.
So yeah, I have drawn a Lord of Atlantis, which gives the other Merfolk +1/+1 and gives them Island Walk. So functionally unblockable here. Nice way around the Deadpool.
Yep, your clock is now significantly faster than his, and you're holding up a counterspell, which means that he needs to draw a lot of things here to not die.
Yeah, so Merfolk have turned this one around fairly quickly just by ripping it off the top. Yeah, as you said, he needs 2 answers here, given the counterspell that I am holding.
Which he doubly knows about, so it'd be a bit of a pickle, I think, for him to be able to get out of this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you said, he knows about it twice, so maybe that means he doesn't know about it at all. I'm not sure how that works.
We'll have to ask a judge about it.
Yeah, we will clarify with the judge. We'll get back to you. But we did see he has a blast, and I believe he has a dismember, so he has options. We also know about the frog, but that's not really helping you right here. So starting off with the blast on the Lord of Atlantis.
Yeah, notably, if he pays any amount of life to the dismember, he still dies.
He could pay 2 and kill the Lord of Atlantis and then block the 2/2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my bad.
So he is going to go with that line. Because the Curse Catcher, he can't tap the... So he's showing me here, like just saying, I can't tap that last mana and not pay any life because the Curse Catcher, he needs to hold up the 1 mana. So he's paying 2 life, holding up 1 to sort of shut off the Curse Catcher, and he is targeting the Lord of Atlantis, which is his only play here. Just sort of thinking it through. Talking about this Curse Catcher, he was saying he thought the Curse Catcher gave the ability to all the Merfolk or something. I believe one of the Lords does that, but we are just sort of discussing it.
killed him with in the previous game.
So the Curse Catcher can only sacrifice itself. So by holding up the mana here, he negates the ability to do that, and this Dismember is going to resolve. Yep, going to the graveyard there. And still just discussing that. And we'll go to my turn. Still needing to rip something, so this could be the turning point for him.
Being
and
on
with the
2
Psychic
life
Frog
is
in
not
hand.
0 life.
Correct. And I am losing 3 life a turn still until I sacrifice this creature, although I have just ripped yet another answer. That is a Price of Progress.
That's a pretty fitting way to end this game.
Yeah, so Merfolk just ripping back-to-back-to-back answers and getting there over Grixis.
You love to see it. Scourge of the format, 8-point fish.
Scourge of the format for a reason. It just rips answers when it needs them.
Where is... yeah, Billy can do the outro.
Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you coming here today. Leave a like and subscribe.
There you
That's
go.
it.
That's done.
Include that.
Oh, wait.
No, that's good.
Wait. No, it's not.
Done?
It's not good.
That's good, yeah.
Is that the Punisher way? Wait.
All right, we're just going with that.
Yeah, I'm using that. Thanks.
All right, sweet. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Fuck me, dude.